remove Hibana, and that's a pretty standard ban when you look at Clubhouse. Typically, a hard breacher will be removed from the board just because it makes it very difficult for you to manage all of that hard destruction without one. Nip will correspond by taking out Montaigne. It's a pretty sensible strategy knowing how much FaZe loves to run Monty here on this map. Yeah, the shield can be very powerful, not just on this map, but in general recently has been seeing a lot of play. So when you have a team that is prominent for, or well known for playing Montaigne, you really do want to get rid of it. Valkyrie also going to be taken out by Nip, and it's going to be Echo, the final ban here. So no surprises whatsoever. I would say Valkyrie, she is a very powerful operator, and of course she did, in a way, receive a buff with the throwable gravity reduction on her cameras, but at the same time, on Clubhouse, I'm not sure. I mean, she's definitely really good here, but there are some, I think, better options available. I think the official terminology is that she can yeet her Valkyrie cameras into outer space. Are we gonna say it like that? I believe that was the official clarification that was put out in documentation that I received earlier on. Also, new banner at the top for you with the colors, but the names, obviously a little incorrect. G2 Esports and Mocket Esports are certainly not the teams that are competing today. So this is not the European Pro League, in case you were wondering. That is correct. So those will be updated in due course. There you have it. So we'll head downstairs to Church/Arsenal Room. And of course, with Hibana being banned, this is going to mean that those hatches upstairs will need to be very carefully managed. Now, you see, Kamikaze is going to be running the Maverick. We got to see in Rio de Janeiro exactly how difficult it is for a Maverick to be able to open up the hatches from above. It takes almost the entire fuel canister for that blowtorch. If you recall correctly, it was Fabian who was trying to do the hatch management on Bank a number of times. You've got thermite there, and you almost always want to keep one of those thermite charges for probably dirt or the church wall, unless you use both them on hatches. But with the Maverick in play, I don't think that's going to be the strategy here for Nip. Yeah, the one beautiful thing about the Maverick is that there's technically no way to directly counter his utility when he's trying to open up a drop down. It's really easy to shoot him when he's opening a drop down, but at the same time, you know, those other counters that you would typically see are not available. Now, Ninjas and Pyjamas just starting to drone their way into the west side of the building, but also actually pretty quickly in here to stock. This is great efficiency being shown by the Ninjas right this minute. FaZe, though, don't seem keen to roam in any degree. They are playing mostly on the basement, which I'm not surprised by that. As we talked about it in the pre-match, basement Clubhouse is the bomb site to defend, and a lot of it comes down to how well your anchors perform. Having that extra buffer of, well, everybody anchoring just gives you a lot of tokens to work with, and you don't need to risk delaying upstairs when you have such a good castle to defend downstairs. I mean, you see this map has really not changed that much in the way that the defense downstairs is played. I mean, it had the distinction of being one of the only maps in the map pool that had a site where you could sit every defender on site and not lose valuable map control. And now that there's the rotate upstairs inside of office, it means that if you wanted to see FaZe have a bit of a better roam, they could. Yeah, it's an option, but it's so rarely actually utilized. Now, cameraman is primed and ready over top of this mirror window inside of Church, looking towards the bottom of the main stairs to lob out that C4. Could possibly catch somebody there if they decide to push down. Psycho just narrowly missing a rotate from FaZe inside of blue. The Ash perched, just watching that new blue area, which has been opened up when the map was redone just a little bit. Cameraman C4 is going to miss, and then he's going to lose the wall there as the thermite charge goes off quite well. Julio, of course, the culprit in terms of getting open that wall. He'll blind himself, and a frag grenade will sail well past all the defenders of FaZe. Trying to smoke off any entry point from Nip inside of Moto. FaZe just sitting and waiting. Moringa toying with that grenade as it'll go off, and well, he's going to need to get out of the way. Psycho gets first kill on Astro and hits a goo mine in the process, but takes down the Jaeger, and that is as good of a player on FaZe's side of things. 20 seconds remaining, and Nip very, very close to being able to push inside of Church. There goes some of the soft wall. It doesn't look like the hard destruction went off correctly, and oh no, Pino rotates and looks the wrong way. Moringa's gonna grab a kill as well, and Cameraman gets his second phase, putting so many together. Yuna from downtown, a double kill. He'll seal the deal on round number 1 and a successful defense of Church and Arsenal downstairs on Clubhouse. Would you believe it?
Yeah, and I won't underplay how incredibly important it was that the wall was not opened by the thermite charge, because that actually was huge. You had to see the Buck rotated at the bottom of main stairs, which totally tore apart the strategy from Ninjas in Pyjamas. He was trying to do other things, and then not only did he have to rotate in the last couple seconds of the round, but he also got caught in that rotation and died after opening the wall. So all the steps that Ninjas in Pyjamas went through strategy-wise there were halted in the middle of the round. Well, I say the middle of the round. All fairness to FaZe Clan, Ninjas in Pyjamas were truly inefficient on that take, and FaZe were set up really well to take the round regardless of the wall not being opened.
I mean, the bigger thing too with that wall was that both Moringa and Cameraman were able to play without being exposed, right?
That's exactly it, yeah.
That was the thing. It wasn't even so much that the Thermite couldn't get in with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
It's that the wall provided visual cover for the two defenders who didn't need to relocate. And
physical at the same time, because again, the Buck had to come from a totally different role to open it up before Ninjas in Pyjamas could start progressing. So that was unfortunate for Nip, though again, I will state that the way that that round was shaping up, I do believe that FaZe would have been able to take it, regardless of the bug playing out. To be honest, FaZe was in better positions. They had been able to delay without actually doing anything, to the point where Ninjas Pyjamas were up against, what, 20 seconds left, 15 seconds left there when they started to go for the push. So all in all, good defense from FaZe, very patient. Ninjas Pyjamas work on that time management.
Even then, Pino, after he opened up the wall, knowing there's a mirror window there, you've got to imagine. You had the smoke just go out before you. You know somebody's playing in there, whether it's Moringa or even Cameraman after you saw the C4 sail out. Not a smart move from Pino.
So going into this round, we will see the secondary bomb site from FaZe, CCTV. And this is pretty standard. Cameraman's going to be going for a run out, though, a little bit less standard, and he will get a kill into Psycho, completely exposed on the ventilation vault on top of the roof. Great play there from Cameraman. He must have had some kind of information to make that play, though. There has to be a camera alive outside, possibly. Valkyrie is banned, also not being played, so maybe a default cam? I can't imagine he had the knowledge any other way.
There had to have been something there, right? You look, Echo is also banned, so there's no way they could have even had maybe a yokai drone go out very quickly through the drone hole, get that info, and then come back, which I know some teams have done before. It's a good read. Regardless, though, and I mean, it's going to pay well. Ninjas in Pyjamas losing Psycho, and then, of course, losing the Ash as well. That is a crucial blow, and, of course, Psycho, on a lot of occasions, doing quite well for his team. That looks like it might have been a missed grenade from Pino, or maybe it did actually hit the smoke, but there's an ADS not too far off of red.
Looks like it missed on my screen, and Pino's been able to do some great work there, but he's lost a lot of HP in the process, and still FaZe has control of Garage. So while we have seen Nip work their way into the server wall, they are struggling now with making any further progress. And they've lost, again, not only on Pino, but also on Kamikaze and Wag, a lot of HP. Full control on the actual horizontal axis here for FaZe. Wag will get the first kill for his team. Another run out from Cameraman. Oh, is he just going for it right now? But he's not going to find anything. So we might have seen that C4 might have been blind based on how Cameraman is playing right now. But I mean, that would be really lucky at the same time.
I mean, the Cameraman's run out also provided a lot of intel right there, knowing that the push is going to be coming over from east side towards Kennels. And with the smokes going down from the attackers, a good execute. It'll be responded to with the toxic canister, and Mav just narrowly missing his shots all the way through the opening that was created by the Thermite. Cameraman picking up his second kill, traded off by Wog. That's Wog's second as well. So Cameraman will end with just 2. But once again, poor victims of time management. Yuna eliminating Wog, Moringa goes down to Kamikaze, but ultimately a pretty anticlimactic round as Nip ends up with a number of attackers still alive as that round comes to an end. 2 rounds, 2 times that they've mismanaged that clock.
Yeah, and you said right there at the end, there's not much else to say. Ninjas in Pyjamas really poorly managing the clock. That's pretty much the whole problem at the root of their attack. Now, apart from that, there were a couple other mistakes that Ninjas in Pyjamas committed to. They did not clear out anything horizontally. You may have noticed me say that in the middle of the round, and it's held true throughout. They started working on the garage in the dying seconds of the round. So I guess they wanted something to stand on, but they really, Ninjas in Pyjamas took that garage way too slow. And when they were once they had control of the garage and they started pushing the site, not only did they just have 10 seconds, they had no time left. That's when the round ended. So I don't have anything else to say about that other than Ninjas in Pyjamas, work a little bit on your efficiency. FaZe will be going to Gym as their 3rd bomb site. Not a surprise at all. As we have discussed many a time on Clubhouse, Bar is just about the only bomb site you do not want to go to on this map. It was the most drastically changed, in my opinion, of all of the sites, and I think that's a big reason as to why. I know there are teams that, you know, theorcraft and try to push sites like Bar on Clubhouse, but it just hasn't been embraced by everybody else because I think the shock factor of construction being added upstairs really encouraged teams to learn the 2 top bomb sites. And then down in Bar, I mean, back in the day when Bar was, I'm not going to say better, I think it was worse, honestly. It was reluctantly played as the 2nd bomb site because there were no other options. Yeah, this was not a map that was in a good spot in regards to site diversity and site health at all. And I like the changes to Clubhouse. It's certainly a lot more enjoyable to cast, and I know that from the player's perspective, a lot more enjoyable to play. But heading in towards the Gym Master side of things, number 1, construction and cash defense is still going to be vital for most teams. That's where you see Cameraman positioned as well as Astro. So FaZe doubling up on holding cash. Some teams will completely forego taking control of cash and instead opt for a jacuzzi push, which is what it appears Ninjas in Pyjamas is doing. They've opened up that jacuzzi wall, and in the same position as he died last round, Psycho sits. But there's not going to be a push from FaZe this time to take him down because they'll be walking right into the lion's den of everybody else from Nip. Also, Ninjas in Pyjamas putting quite a bit of focus on the office side of things that's connected to construction, and you can basically force out any defenders in cash by focusing on jacuzzi as well as logistics. Very dangerous for Ninjas in Pyjamas to be going for that construction push. I mean, they can cut through the middle by opening that wall, but they don't actually have any real control as they're not putting an emphasis on it. In fact, they've completely shifted their take, and they now have full control of Bathroom thanks to the Castle Barricade covering the push from Psycho. A confusing setup, to be sure, from FaZe, and there's nobody on site. Moringa's going to get the kill onto Kamikaze, though, and Mav also eliminates Psycho. Despite the control that Nip were gifted, they have squandered it thus far. Astro is playing the long angle along with Mav from Cash and CCTV, and they seem plenty comfortable to play these long angles as long as is necessary. Julio pushing his way into Bathroom. Again, great control, but what is he really doing with it? We need to see the diffuser plant, but it is being stopped, halted by the likes of Cameraman from below, who can play the vertical game. Wog, I'm not sure what his mission is, but if it was to clear out Cameraman, he has already failed. Pushing up the main stairs, he will be out of position. It was a wonderful play, actually, by FaZe as they're going to double up. Yuna and Moringa taking out Pino and Julio. You mentioned him, Wog. He's going to get one, but that could be a low-impact frag. Needs to fetch the diffuser, but Astro will shut that one down. And as all things should be, the defense winning on Clubhouse. That play by FaZe looked to be very well masterminded. They basically conceded Bathroom, and the moment that they marked the Maestro of Mav, who was prone by the bed, Moringa had the cross into Bathroom, and he was able to pick up one, and then when Mav jumped off of his camera, was able to gun one down. I think Nip realized that they were being baited into pushing through Bathroom. Yep. And work it out quite well. It was probably the simplest bait and switch we've seen ever executed, and yet somehow... Okay, so what was going on there was that FaZe Clan were playing the long angles from Cash Room to defend B. That's how they were holding the site from off-site. They didn't need to be inside if they could just deny the defuse plant. That's all that really matters. But the really perplexing thing to me is that Ninjas in Pyjamas had the tools to avoid that entirely. A couple things. First, they pushed Wog downstairs to try and clear out Cameraman, who was playing from below as the castle. His job was to be the backup, to deny the defuse plant if there was smoke cover and the long angle play was not an option any longer from Cash. But Wag pushed downstairs to take care of him and just somehow... I imagine that, you know, he maybe just missed droning out or clearing out Pool. If he had killed Cameraman, though, the next simplest step, smoke, go for a defuse plant. There were Evil Eyes in play, but of course, those can be taken care of as well. You have the tools. So just overall, a very confusing round for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It must have been, I guess, that they just didn't read into the bait. And I guess at that point, it was too late. Though I would have expected faster reactions there on that read.
Another thing, too, from Ninjas in Pyjamas was that a lot of times, if you look at their lineup, it'll be the Ashe who is designed to take out those Evil Eyes with those 2 breaching rounds. Really, outside of that, all you have is, if the Evil Eye doesn't open up, you have the 2 frag grenades from Buck. That's really it, you know? But Ashe used the breaching rounds on the castle barricades to open up the site, and that was it, and it didn't leave you any utility left to pick off those Evil Eyes.
And that's another thing. He used the breaching round on the castle barricade separating bathroom from the other site, and it would have been better left intact. I gotta be honest, like that would have been a great hold for the attackers.
Now this is a bit confusing. Stock hatch downstairs, or stock hatch that connects to downstairs, was left soft, which is going to allow the Buck of Pino to just open it right up, knowing that you banned Hibana.
Yeah.
Where is FaZe putting, or where are FaZe putting these other reinforcements? Because you know that the Thermite and the Maverick have to be very specific about where they use their hard destruction. Where is it going to go? And just gifting a hatch is not necessarily the best idea. I am confused, but I think we'll probably see something shake out from FaZe's side of things here.
It certainly seems like a tactical waste, but at the same time, FaZe has been winning these rounds pretty consistently, and based on the time management playing out right this minute, it looks as though Ninjas in Pyjamas are going to struggle again as they come down to the last minute, and they haven't really accomplished anything other than opening up drop-downs.
To be fair, we have seen teams be able to pull off executes here on this site in particular within 20 seconds.
Yes, but within the context of this match, I would say that this is going to be a struggle and a half for Ninjas in Pyjamas. The one tool that they have brought is, of course, the glass. And I think that, if anything, is going to help them quite a bit when they go for that final push.
And they've been really using Dokkaebi to start off their executes with those logic bombs, but this time around, she will be gone from the board. 45 seconds to go, cooking a grenade. Pino will roll it right in and looks for a peek from the Jaeger. Both Moringa and Yuna taking a lot of damage. Pino finds Cameraman, and Nip has their best round so far, getting the first 2 kills as Mav also falls. They've used about 15 seconds and they have full control of Church. Plant going down from Julio, being covered over by Psycho. Wog will fall to Astro, but Nip still has control. Diffuser going down successfully, and I don't think FaZe knew it at all. Kamikaze in the post. Plant takes out Yuna looking for the rotate, and there's another, as Nip will get the final 2 kills with Julio picking off Astro outside of blue, and a bit of a rarity. The attackers winning a Church defense. It does allow FaZe to go back down there yet again, though.
Yeah, my words, an excellent execution in the last seconds of the round there from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Some confusing plays being made by FaZe. Of course, most notable one is that Mira peeking into Moto. Unnecessary moves, to say the least. The Glass did his job in taking control of Blue for a few seconds, but enough time for the push into Church to bear fruit. And that's the most important thing. He did his job, despite dying swiftly after. Now, we are not, in fact, going to be going back downstairs. According to FaZe, they will be going to CCTV. I like this, trying to keep their opponents on their toes. But Ninjas in Pyjamas seem to have brought a different tool, and thus are maybe expecting this. And by that tool, of course, I am referencing Ying instead of the Glass.
Also a Thatcher joining them. Thatcher not seeing as much necessarily site-specific usage on Church. Pairs much better with CCTV, possibly even Gym Master, in case you want to clear out any bandit charges, any mute jammers, etc. And they know, if you're Ninjas in Pyjamas, that FaZe has been running a mute on these sites. That's been in the hands of Cameraman, who ran a mute both times. So here we have it.
Not having the bandit gonna hurt the odds of denying the East CCTV wall, but at the same time, I think at times you look at that wall and you think foregone conclusion, it's opened. If as long as you're not making any major mistakes as an attacking team, you should be capable of opening that wall. The Maverick would be better than a Thatcher in this situation, but it's not going to actually matter as nobody's really contesting it. Interesting that there's a mirror window being placed on the CCTV wall, and yet nothing's going on there. There's no challenge. It's not being opened to C4 potentially. Of course, the mute's not going to juggle the wall. I get that, but just you know, maybe I'm thinking it's excess utility from Yuna, and he just wanted to put it somewhere. Cameraman
just got spotted by Pino's drone. I don't know if he heard it scoot on by. Pino, who not just opened up the hatch above logistics, but then also found himself in a position to drone in. Now, because of the way this hatch is positioned, the Buck is going to need to expose quite a bit of himself, and Cameraman being fed information, expecting a pinch through the door of office. He'll set off a C4 a bit too prematurely, and another grenade will go in, and oh, Pino will not miss that time. Cameraman cannot manage to escape that cubby. And that'll be an opening frag for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Good usage of those two frag grenades from Pino, and the C4, of course, from Cameraman, finding nothing.
I think it was destroyed by the grenade. So you could say it was a double efficiency there on the grenade in a way, I suppose, although there was nobody challenging from the hallway, so it probably wouldn't have mattered. Great job to Pino forcing Cameraman into a corner there.
He hit the C4 over the door. I mean, it wasn't going to net anything anyway, right? But yeah, I do think the frag grenade got it. I think you were absolutely correct on that assessment. And it's basically going to allow Ninjas in Pyjamas, if they've done the amount of work they need to do with their drones, which it looked like they did, as they've been droning out quite well with just a minute to go here, they will realize that there's really nobody to worry about that far off site. Even Astro, who's playing inside a garage, is probably the farthest you're going to get from being a roamer. Still tons of drones up for Nip for the time being, though, and Mav, realizing that he's got a cross covered by Astro, will now look towards construction, waiting to see if there's going to be a push in from Cash. Nip will juggle the diffuser and just simply wait it out. 30 seconds to go, and the execute beginning to go underway.
We're shaping up for a brawl with still 9 alive and so little time. FaZe has great horizontal control once again on this bomb site, but the Ying Candelas will be the perfect tool to possibly dislodge some of these players. Mav will get the entry kill, though, onto Psycho, so doing his job very well. But oh no, at the top of Cash stairs, how has he made it in? It's Wag to get a double kill and take out the majority of the anchors, leaving just Astro in the 1 versus 2, but he could deny this defuse plant. And oh no, missing these so crucial shots. Pino will land his right after the defuse plant, and Nip put 2 in a row.
Just a hip fire shot away in order for them to be able to get that kill. Pino in a bit of a panic as he falls off of that diffuser right as it goes down, and excellent job from Nip. So for the first 2 rounds, they struggled with time management an awful lot, looking a little bit lost. The last 2 rounds, not only have they won both of their attacks, but they've been able to get the diffuser down at the same time.
How the heck was Wag allowed to get to the top of Cash stairs? That is usually one of your largest pillars for the defense of that bomb site. And the fact that he was able to walk in there with 2 and get 2 kills, I mean, I get it, he's playing Ying. And it was a very powerful tool there, and I think they used it properly. It still kind of shocks me that he got away with that. So we're going to see a 6 pick there. Wag is going to go on to Glaz instead of Ying. I really like that 6 pick. So one thing that 6 pick tells me is that Ninjas in Pyjamas, based on the operation selection that FaZe is bringing, are somehow aware of what site FaZe is choosing to defend, because they're bringing Glaz specifically for the basement, and they are bringing Ying specifically for attacking CCTV, and that is some pretty impressive awareness from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
So, come back to us as it appears that everybody is going to abandon this game. Hello, how are you doing? Unfortunately, Astro, or rather Moringa's computer appeared to just stop working. So we will wait a second and get back into this game here in what is going to be the last defensive round of FaZe. They're going back downstairs to Church. Assessment on the previous round. They went up to CCTV. As Ying, Wog was basically able to blind the push up red. He takes out the Mira, then takes out Wog, or then he takes out Mav inside of CCTV and Cash, and then inside of Cash through that hole that was opened up in the wall of red, leading into Cash, as you mentioned. So of course what a Ying is going to do is completely blind everybody in her path.
And yeah, again, you know, I'm going to double down on this. I get that it's a Ying. I get that this is a very, you know, close together bomb site with not much room to maneuver as a defensive team, but I'm still very surprised that he was allowed to get so much control. If he pushed up the Cash stairs, then it's even more amazing. If he vaulted through the potential hole, or yes, the hole that was in the CCTV wall, then okay, I get it. But all in all, just too many holes left in the defense by FaZe there in that round. And again, I'm just surprised he got away with it. You wouldn't expect to see that from FaZe. And it's not the sort of site that you can play, well, off-site like what we saw in Gym, where FaZe pulled off that excellent bait strategy. You cannot really play CCTV that way unless you somehow have managed to retain control over Master, and even then you're not getting much control overall. We did see Cameraman, though, in the last time they defended CCTV, when the FaZe were successful, just go on a pretty deep roam and use Master control quite well to even establish some site control. It's just it's less doable, and it wasn't even the case in this round. So kind of confusing the way that FaZe was playing that all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, to look at the way that they play on defense here, they pick up the first three. They looked really strong. It didn't look like Nip was going to be in for much of a battle here, though. This does kind of benefit Nip because they're going to be going to defense after this split is done. And of course, as we said, if you just look at the baseline stats at Clubhouse, 60% of the victories that come on Clubhouse are defensive. So you should be winning 4 of the 6 rounds on defense. If that's the case, and Nip can walk away tying this first half, and we're going to go back downstairs to Church on the basement floor of Clubhouse. If we can see Nip walk away with a tie in the first half, that's going to bode very well for their chances going through in the second time. Now, in regards to the way that Pino was playing, I know that we were a bit critical of the way he rotated on round number 1 and how they had to get the Buck to come downstairs to deal with the thermite charge that didn't blow up the full reinforcement. I think another part of it, too, is they've only had a couple weeks to get him used to this roster, right? You're going to have a bit of shakiness.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for that, to be completely frank. I mean, like, it was a mistake on his part. You can't take that away. But at the same time, he had a different job to do as the Buck on a basement attack, and he was rotated out of necessity in the dying seconds of a round. I mean, I imagine his thought process was, I need to go back to do the other job that's, you know, pre-assigned to me when we lay out this strategy in dry runs, and he didn't have time to do that. He didn't, you know, have the opportunity to do that because he died after doing the It was just a mess. It was a mess, and it wasn't necessarily Pino's fault. We also, I mean, he didn't have some great nades as well. Last time they attacked CCTV from below, a couple misses, didn't really accomplish much there. But that last round, he definitely used those grenades well to deal with Cameraman. And we were talking about him last time last time that FaZe went to defend CCTV when they were successful, Cameraman did a lot of work on that deep roam.
Yeah, when Cameraman took out Psycho the first time around on that CCTV, he wasted an awful lot of time with Pino on their second defensive CCTV after the 2 grenades were able to take him out. He was playing inside a logistics office this time, but it does appear that FaZe's pattern for using Cameraman upstairs in CCTV Cash is to just keep him somewhere over on the Master Gym side of things. When you look at the way that Church plays out, you're probably going to have Astro sitting down in blue control, as he has done for the last 2 times that they've been here so far in this matchup. You're going to keep Moringa and probably Cameraman inside of Church, playing somewhere close and hoping that if there's going to be any hard destruction being done, you can negate it. But with that said, we are ready to get into the match. And keep in mind, this is the last round for FaZe's defense.
Yeah, so they really do need to win this. Ending a half on Clubhouse 3-3 is always bad for the defensive team. So FaZe, ideally, going to put this to 4-2. Now, as you stated earlier, and as we all got to see before the rehost, we will be going to the basement for this next hold. Interesting that Wag will 6-pick off of the Dokkaebi instead of the Ying. So that actually is different from what we saw last time. I believe, I'm pretty sure it was a Ying. And what that's probably going to scream to FaZe Clan, if they're being diligent, is, hey, this is not the operator that you're actually going to be playing against. But we'll find out. Setup coming down stairs, and you're once again going to be seeing a Mira being brought. A very powerful operator on this hold. And as we saw earlier, FaZe has a lot of really cool pre-set up C4s over the wall. One thing I would like to state is that while we do see over reinforced wall C4s many times, the one that FaZe has set up in particular that lands at the bottom of the main stairs through the crack between the reinforcement and the ceiling on that particular wall is tiny. It is really hard to thread the needle there. So it's well done to FaZe to set up that pre-aimed C4. It's not exactly a new thing, but it is something that you do need to practice, and you do need to have really well refined.
Yeah, and it's hard to be able to nail that C4. I think it was Zig got a 4K in DreamHack Winter as he lobbed one over, if I recall correctly. And it's a very dangerous spot to get to, but it kind of fell out of favor because Hibana being played so much. Church control on that wall was not as pivotal as you'd imagine, but hey, I mean, it's come back. As we say on Clubhouse in particular, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and we tend to see a repeat to ways that teams have attacked here before. And speaking of, we're going to see something very similar from Ninjas in Pyjamas in the way that they attack these hatches from above. One thermite charge will go off inside of the lobby, or the bar area rather, and then you've also got the Buck getting the soft hatch. So for the second time in a row, that hatch inside of stock being left soft by FaZe.
I think they've left it soft every single time they've defended the basement, and it's truly a confusing inefficiency considering, as you stated before, the Hibana ban was on FaZe's side. So I'm not entirely sure what the thought process is there, but I mean, I'm sure there's definitely got to be one. I mean, FaZe is a pretty smart team, all things considered. Again, one of the top in their region. Ninjas in Pyjamas, though, on the other hand, again, winning 2 rounds, even if they end the half here, winning 2 rounds on attack of this map, they got to be feeling mighty comfortable. Now, setup coming down for this basement attack, and Ninjas in Pyjamas just, of course, they're going to be chipping away at the barbed wire, the layers of security that the defense have established. And it's just one step at a time, really, with this process. As long as they have at least maybe 30 seconds when they start the site push, they should be pretty comfortable.
Oh, this is as good an opportunity as any, but the grenade from Pino will not find Cameraman on the other side of the church wall, looking to try to take out the Mira. But for both teams, clock ticking away, and only 30 seconds left for Ninjas in Pyjamas to be able to pull this one off. It'll start with Wog inhaling an awful lot of the toxic, Babe being thrown out by smoke, but Pino on the now ejected Mira finding Cameraman, and he's going to begin his assault on Church. So, very first kill coming out, but in good position to hold them off. Oh, Mav, what are you doing? On his back, just completely oblivious to Pino, as Psycho will add to that for Nip. Yuna on 1 HP, trying to flank out. He's last one left, but Pino will start things and also finish them. Nip will take their 3rd in a row to match the 3 from FaZe. Don't get the diffuser down, because they get the final kill before it goes off. We're all tied up heading into the second half.
Oh, that was so unfortunate for the Legion there on the flank. Pino saved that round. It was just about to slip back into FaZe's favor with the flank, and it, well, didn't happen. Great job to the newest addition to the Ninjas in Pyjamas roster. Did a lot of work in that round, not only the entry, but also the cover of the defuse plant. Now, gotta imagine if that mirror window were placed just a few inches lower, could have been a totally different story. Wouldn't have had to finagle for the angle, but oh well for FaZe. ending the half 3-3, so that is really good favor for Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, and I think we say it every single time we see Ninjas in Pyjamas play as well. They tend to do much better on defense than they do on attack. This is a team that has been quite relentless on its roams, especially when you look at how Kamikaze and Psycho can play in tandem, and they had PZD at one point to back them up, but it's going to be Pino this time. It looks like he's going to be anchoring, and not really much of a surprise to see 3 anchors come out from NIP, especially here on this site. And it's strange to use that term on Clubhouse because anchors are typically the operators who stay very deep and fortified inside a site that are designed to stop the push when it happens in the dying seconds of a round. But on Clubhouse, you can safely fit all 5 people downstairs and essentially call them all anchors, though you still have your flex and support roles to help them out. So you've got the Mira, you've got the Maestro, and you've got the Smoke available for them if they need be, which is pretty standard. These are probably 3 of the strongest operators on defense, barring Echo, but of course, Echo banned for this game.
So, slow going here. FaZe are actually quite quickly into stock, but the defense, curiously, going to be actually lingering on the main stairs. That's dangerous for Kamikaze. And he could easily be picked off by FaZe as they attempt the roam clear. One thing that's really crucial, as we've seen many times before, is that you actually clear out the roamers, even if they don't exist. You need to make sure you know that there is nobody roaming on the top floor of Clubhouse when attacking the bottom floor. And that's why all of these rounds we've seen Ninjas in Pyjamas take so much time to start their push downstairs. They're just being thorough. And it's the same thing here for FaZe. They're going to be just as thorough and to make sure that they're not dealing with anybody hiding inside an office on the top floor, waiting for an opportunity to flank. Just going to deny that outright by being, again, on their toes.
Both these teams running very similar lineups on both attack and defense, as you see here now on FaZe's side of things. Of course, they're going to be picking up the Finka in the hands of Yuno, which is a pretty common role that we see him on, especially in conjunction with this LMG, and he has all 3 of those adrenal surges left. Now keep in mind, they only last for 10 seconds. So you've got 30 seconds of surge that will go through you, give you lowered recoil, it'll give you a little bit of health, and it'll also make you take a little bit more damage from these toxic babes here. Oh no! Mav coming so close to being able to pick off Kamikaze, who was playing very aggressively, looking to possibly impact Trick below that kitchen hatch. Astro, the suppressor on the R4C, now inside a Moto, looking for his own frag. Could possibly get peeked. A grenade will sail over top of him and not connect with anybody on NIP's side of things. And Astro just narrowly missing, as that's 2 opportunities for FaZe that do not go their way.
Kamikaze playing with fire with his positioning, but he's getting away with it. Has lost a good chunk of HP, but overall successful. The C4 from the Bandit will miss, and it will be punished as Cameraman gets the entry. Julio will refrag though. Mav goes down. Yuna responds as he pushes into B. And he's gonna miss the angle onto Wag, who will get that kill. No adrenal surge there, and it's going to be Pino inside of blue to take down Cameraman and deny that a fuse plant just out of Moto. It's all up to Moringa, and the pre-fire from Pino will secure the round. Pino playing a pivotal role there, staying light on his toes and just absolutely tearing apart FaZe as they try to push the site.
Absolutely monstrous weapon. That LMG that Maestro holds on to, enabling him to be able to make those plays and take 3 foes down without a single reload. And that will be a 4th round for NIP in a row. Now, not as impressive that they're able to defend Church successfully. As we've noted, this is the one site that you win more than you don't here on Clubhouse. And then, of course, when you factored into an overall defender-sided map. But I was very impressed with the way that NIP played that. There was also a little bit of shakiness from FaZe on their end, too. They were gifted the fact that the C4 missed over top of the church wall. And Yuna, hitting the adrenal surge, wanders into what is commonly referred to as pulse spot, but he looks the wrong way around the boxes towards the back of the site and misses the smoke of Wog. If he takes the smoke down, I think that's an entirely different round.
And there's a lot of little mistakes being made by FaZe on that entry, but I think the biggest overarching strategic mistake that they made was, oh yeah, they didn't even try to clear out blue. I mean, this is basic, and you might have noticed when Ninjas and Pyjamas were attacking the basement, what do? They push a glass into blue. And why did they do that? So that they don't have to deal with a Maestro tearing them apart from blue as they attempt to plant the diffuser inside of church. So FaZe Clan, not even having fully cleared church, trying to plant the diffuser by the cooler, and they had no control whatsoever over blue. Easy kills for Pino, really easy kills. He wasn't even being monitored. There wasn't someone from Moto checking to see, oh, is he gonna peek me? So that's a, like, yeah, again, a lot of little stumbles from FaZe, but just a huge basic strategic mistake being made there.
First exothermic charge on behalf of FaZe is going to go on one of the garage panels just to open things up. And you're going to put cameraman now on the CCTV wall as Maverick to just get some of the bottom parts of that reinforcement taken out. That will also clear out the bandit charges that Psycho could possibly lay down and allow FaZe to use the second exothermic charge to open up the CCTV wall. Now, when you have a Hibana in play, you typically use some of her X-Kairos to open up a window in the garage wall that lets you hold a possible angle on a rotate from CCTV into the garage balcony, but that's not going to be the case here. As you see, Pino is playing above with an ADS or two, which prevents him from possibly being naded. And from below, he's got some reinforcements. Psycho missing the drone, and well, he's going to have to flee, realizing that the sneakiness of the bandit playing down there could have possibly helped keep Pino alive, but he'll have to abandon his post. They'll tag Kamikaze in, though, playing upstairs in the rafters inside a garage, so they'll leave two bodies from Nip holding the garage area.
Overall positioning from Nip right now is pretty decent, and while FaZe has managed to open up all these walls, they really don't have a lot to say for it. Drones coming in, they're looking for the information, trying to figure out where their opponents lie. Adrenal Surge might preempt a push, but no, does not seem so. FaZe possibly overly cautious here. Still looking for the fights, but Ninjas and Pyjamas unwilling to give those fights to their opponent. Of course, all they need to do is wait.
That's exactly what they're going to do. A very quiet round so far, with neither team really taking much confrontation. I think the only couple shots that we saw that actually happened were from Pino playing on top of the rafters. This soft wall here inside of Cash will allow Nip to be able to return fire, denying FaZe their entry, and that's exactly what will happen. Psycho gets the first kill, but gets taken down. Pino there. Moringa had double, and with the Adrenal Surge, he'll plant, but amidst the shroud of smoke, Moringa taking too much damage. Mav is there to take out Julio, swiftly dealt with by Pino. That LMG is so good. With 15 seconds left, Pino's going to have to get back towards site. He still has the soft wall and a great position for covering fire onto Wog. But Wog, eliminated by Mav, will leave the Maestro in a 1v2, and he'll head for the hills, diving off of the rafters and rotating up towards red stairs. Well, diffuser goes down from FaZe, and they're looking to equalize this. Just waiting for the Maestro to get back. Nobody inside of Cash for the time being. Moringa will find him playing at the top of red, his position given away, and oh, Pino beheading Mav. Moringa's very low. It's only going to take one bullet from the Maestro here. Pino with a lot of pressure on his shoulders is the newest member, making tons of noise, playing around the bomb. Now keep in mind, all Moringa needs to do is wait, but this Bailiff in the hands of Maestro. Moringa sees him coming, and Pino will down him, but he doesn't have enough time. It's going to come down to the wire, but I think Pino understands. Get your kill. You don't have the 7 seconds needed, almost doing everything in his power to keep his team in that and extend their lead. But we'll tie it up after a very good attempt from Nip's newest member.
Every single kill that we saw FaZe get in that round was on an off angle. Not one of those kills was a direct confrontation. And yet, the round still came down to a 1 versus 1, despite that fact. Moringa walked his way into server. He was completely ignored by the two opponents closest to him and was able to get a double kill because of it. Great job. Following that, Mav walked his way into sight, able to get a pistol kill on Lemira initially, and then push his way back into CCTV after taking out that kill, and then get a kill onto the smoke, who was not paying attention to the angle that Mav played against him. And then in the end, those 2 kills being given to those 2 players, Moringa and Mav, basically for free from Ninjas and Pyjamas. In the 1 versus 1, the final player for FaZe still did not secure the kill. He won the round, but oh, so very narrowly. Overall, strategically from FaZe, that was an odd round. Ninjas and Pyjamas, though, if they just hadn't left glaring holes in their defense, it would have been a slaughter for them.
A bit taken aback by the way that FaZe played that, especially the buck of Mav. A lot of times you know that you plant the diffuser in a place where you can see it on rappel outside, just playing down by kennels, which is where Mav really could have been. He could have gone, he could have hung on rappel and just waited. I don't even think he would have needed to get off rappel in order to light up anybody who would possibly going for the diffuse there, because it would have been in sight of where you could have been hanging on that rappel wire. So Mav could have maybe played that a bit more patiently and just relied on Moringa to try and waste as much time as humanly possible, but not really the case there. So FaZe ending up doing it, but based on time, and that will be a gift to them on a round that probably should have gone in Nip's favor. Now, ejecting the mirror window, trying to take out one member of FaZe Clan before they can get the CCTV wall will be a failure on Nip's part. Psycho will take a bit of damage, but the wall will go, and Nip will lose nobody in the process. Same thermite strategy that we see being applied here. They took out the CCTV wall, and now they're going to take out the exact same garage wall that Pino is playing just above on those rafters yet again.
Pino's information is being called out thanks to his backpack clipping through there. But it's important to note that that's not part of his hitbox. So if FaZe try to shoot him from below, he won't die. But he is exposed, and that is definitely worth noting. Kamikaze is going to be his support from the window, trying his best to at least mitigate the pressure somewhat, though it's not really that strong. Though, okay, so Psycho was peeking through the mirror window earlier, and he was leaving himself exposed to a pre-opened hole. Truly a confusing way that Psycho's been playing these rounds. He's been a little too aggressive, and I know that's the trait of Psycho. I know that's what he does, and it's what he does better than most. But today, it has not been working out as well as I think he's expecting to.
No, and I mean, he does end up paying for it, as you said. He gets a little bit too bold and ends up losing his life. Astro, as well as Finka of Yuna down below, trying to eliminate Pino here, who is just under siege. A frag grenade will go off. Of course, Finka does hold those now that she got them from IQ not too long ago. They managed to get Pino down, and Yuna eliminating Kamikaze, who's trying to come to his fallen teammate's aid. They'll mark exactly where he's located, but they're taking an awful lot of time here to secure this kill, but it will stretch FaZe's lead to a 5v2. 30 seconds, you've got the anchors of Nip right now. But you've got Julio, who's nowhere close to the site. He's playing downstairs inside of Lounge. He'll lose Wog to Yuna. And now with the Vector, a very small magazine, just trying to stop the diffuser from going off. But Julio, I think, knows that this is a hopeless situation. 10 seconds to go, and he is just getting absolutely gunned down from Mav, and all the way to the basement, Julio will go in hopes that that diffuser doesn't go off. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, and that's as close as it's going to get to that timer expiring as another successful defuse for FaZe, or at least diffuser. We'll see if it's able to defuse the bomb. It'll hit a quarter of the way through, and we'll just ride on board as Julio creeps up the blue stairs where Mav was playing earlier on. He sees the buck. He won't get any further. Mav will shut down the return to the site for Julio, and FaZe will regain the lead.
So it all started with Psycho getting picked for free. And as soon as Psycho was taken out, that really weakened the anchor game in the actual site. And a more important note is that because the wall was open in CCTV, the 2 roamers in Garage were unable to assist the site directly. It would have been a very difficult rotation. Now, that puts a lot more pressure on those Garage players. Why? Because if they die, there's no way to deny the defuse plant in the actual site, because Psycho, again, was taken down. Julio was forced away from site. So overall, just not a really good grip on the site. That's the word I was looking for. what happened after that? Well, when the roam clear came into garage, unfortunately, I'm assuming unbeknownst to Ninjas of Pyjamas, they were broadcasting the location of Maestro through that catwalk, the backpack clipping through. You did see FaZe drone out the Maestro for a brief period. There were a couple marks red marks coming down, but most of that, as you saw, transitioned to yellow marks through the catwalk. Here's where he is. Here's where your nades need to land. Following that, Yuna was also able to get the follow-up shots onto the Jaeger. Easy kill, dispatching him, and then garage was completely cleared out. That left absolutely no grip whatsoever on the site, and an easy clear for FaZe, pushing through not only garage, but also the breached wall. Good coordination from FaZe, and again, I would lay that at the feet of Psycho getting picked so very early on. Pino there, as you can see, 10 kills. The only one actually pulling significant weight for his team right now. And again, the newest addition to the Ninjas of Pyjamas roster.
I mean, this is also, you got to keep in mind, this was after the rehost too, right? Which had a number of rounds in it where Pino, Wog was top fragging at the time for his team, but Pino was also doing quite well, trying to keep up, which is a good recovery after the first 2 rounds where I think we might have unfairly thrown some criticism at the newest member of NIP's feet. But back downstairs to church as the site has unlocked again, and this is a good chance for NIP to be able to tie it back up. If not, FaZe Clan will go to match point. A good time to remind you that we have extended the amount of rounds in the game, so it's 7 to win. Early confrontation. Takes a minute inside of dirt. Astro hits Wag, and Wag hits right back. So they'll trade blows, and both players will lose about a quarter of their HP. Astro all by himself. Looked like he was droning solo, but he's got Mav there as backup, not too far behind, and Yuna as well, flexing off of the Finka onto the Dokkaebi for the first time.
Pino's looking for the angle. This is not a really easy angle to fight. The way he's choosing to go about it is very dangerous, but we've seen it work out for him in the past. Wog will be downed, but not finished off just yet. Psycho also managed to take out Mav, I believe, through the holes in the floor. Impact tricking successful for Kamikaze, which is huge, but some team damage coming out. Wog gets finished off by Moringa, who gets a double kill onto Psycho. Pino still alive, though, by Box, able to get one of the entry. Though Yuna has made it in, he has not spotted Kamikaze, who will finish him off swiftly. A whole minute left to work with here, but the drop down is still intact, I believe, and that's going to make the take really difficult for these last, well, singular attacker in Cameraman as Moringa goes down, trying to push in through tunnel. Cameraman is in just about the worst position possible. At least he doesn't have to deal with any barbed wire here, but he's got to deal with a crossfire if he goes through Moto. He's got to deal with an extremely long lane and lesion traps if he goes to the main hall, and he's got to deal with Julio just seizing the opportunity if he chooses to linger. Ninjas of Pyjamas, a very stalwart defense there on the basement, will bring us to 5-5.
That mirror window on Church Wall cannot be given enough credit for everything that just happened on that round in particular. Not only did NIP still have the camera up to be able to give them all the information they needed at the bottom of main stairs, but you've also got the mirror that will provide you a literal window towards what Cameraman is doing. Without any heart-breaching destruction, Cameraman has 2 ways in. You go through Moto, or you go down the hallway. The hallway, at one end, you've got a Maestro with an LMG, and inside of Moto, you've got a Mira playing close range with a Vector. It's almost certain death unless you get very lucky. And he almost did. If you saw that Pino on the Maestro decided to move into blue, tried to engage with Cameraman through the wall. Cameraman was able to do a little bit of damage, but Pino still stayed upright, and then was able to get back, I think, into the comfort of the boxes in the back of Arsenal downstairs. So ultimately, things going according to plan for NIP on that one, winning their church defense and sending us to round number 11 now, all tied up.
I gotta lay that at the feet of course, Pino playing by those boxes. Good pivot point for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Legion, of course, as well, deep inside of Arsenal. Now, you can see, I think it's really smart decision made by Ninjas in Pyjamas. They have, as of yet, been unsuccessful while defending CCTV. They've tried it twice, so they're just gonna say, yeah, no more. we're going to go to Jim. We don't need to risk it. And I think rightfully so. If you've only got one site on this whole half, you've been unsuccessful on, yeah, don't go there. Don't go there.
Cash just has not been working out. We've only seen Cash CCTV being defended successfully one time so far, which is odd. But I mean, also a lot of it is that with the way operator bans come out, Valkyrie, I would assume, unless something changes with her ability to throw cameras like Tom Brady looking for the winning touchdown of a Super Bowl, I would imagine that she is probably going to inhabit a must-ban role every single time. There are just so many spots that those cameras can get into that originally you would never even think of looking for them. And I think that's going to be a big issue. And if you've got a Valkyrie on the board, it necessitates bringing an IQ. But in the meantime, it's also going to leave Mira, Maestro, and Echo probably inhabiting that second ban. And Maestro and Mira being allowed at the same time, well, that's pretty strong. Same as Echo and Maestro. So you basically got to pick your poison here. It also might push Mira back into the meta as she had seen such an absence. But, of course, all theory crafting is... We're in round number 11, live action, and we've taken about a minute for FaZe to be able to control Cash, CCTV, and quite a bit of a quick fall off for Nip there.
Yeah, it almost seems like they didn't really want to hold it at all. I mean, didn't even waste... I mean, they wasted technically a minute. There's nobody playing there, so I think that was just FaZe being cautious. And they're going to be able to thermite from construction into office because of that at half-round mark. So good efficiency here from the attack so far. Log will be the one to try and hold up this push. He's used his first gas canister pretty early on, and that's not good, of course. First Evil Eye to go will be from the Ash charge there. Psycho has a C4 prepped and ready from below. He could actually get an easy kill right this minute onto the Ash of Astro, but he's not choosing to go for it just yet. He's probably waiting for a call from his teammate that he's on the door, but nobody from FaZe choosing to push the door just yet. Pino will be the one to make the call to Psycho to trigger that C4.
A pretty good understanding of when FaZe is going to push alongside the adrenal surge that comes out from Yuna's Fink, as the Dokkaebi experiment did not work at all. So back onto this roll here, we will see Yuna go, and he hits one adrenal surge not too long ago to leave him with just one left as he burned the third earlier on in the round. Wog playing with fire, and he'll manage to take out Yuna, and the frag grenade gets eaten too. Wog doing double duty, but no, he'll get shut down by Astro as they'll trade kills. But it'll prompt FaZe to have to grab that diffuser. Wog had also taken Mav down in the process, so ultimately, pretty beneficial here. Pino just guarding the doorway, shotgun, revolver in hand, getting the marks. Oh, but Moringa walks away with that one. A great kill. Kamikaze, a double of his own. Getting pinged, but can't stop Mav, who's been picked up. It's going to leave Psycho, who, with the MP5, managed to take out a Mav and Moringa, too. Psycho absolutely living up to his name as he keeps the round in favor of Nip. Great coordination for his team. And it'll be Nip now, sitting on match point.
Now, here's the tricky thing. After that amazing clutch there at the end, but from Psycho, this now means that Ninjas and Pyjamas has to go back to CCTV. Because, of course, as we all know, Bar, not a site that teams like to defend. So our odds of going to overtime are non-existent because this is a best of one, which means we very likely will see a draw here from FaZe if they can pull it out, win CCTV for the third time in a row. I think it likely.
It's going to really come down to their ability to hold Garage. I mean, that was the big focus for FaZe last time around. They stacked up 3 bodies to take out Pino inside of Garage. After Psycho had been felled, there was nobody to watch Pino on top of the Raptors, and essentially was a dead man walking at that point.
Yeah, I think a big part of that, again, is, you know, maybe if Pino doesn't spend as much time prone, he might be able to avoid detection and thus stay alive for a little bit longer, because that really did hurt him. And Kamikaze, of course, dying immediately after with no response. That's just Kamikaze losing a fight to Yuna. That's all that was. So hopefully Kamikaze will be able to avoid that. Though, I mean, that just, again, it comes down to pure gun skill. There's nothing else to be said. Now, I think Nip can make this happen, but I think FaZe have got to be hyped up at this moment in time have got to be in a position where, like, yeah, we know what we're getting ourselves into. It's another CCTV attack. An interesting Evil Eye there from Eno. I would really like to see what it can see. We'll see if that happens. I imagine it's a very small field of view, but crucial one onto the garage panels, which of course was really important for FaZe's attack last time they were here.
Yeah, you can actually snipe off an exothermic charge depending on the way you play it out, and there will be, it appears, possibly an impact trick or maybe the exothermic charge going off.
Oh.
Hard to tell. They will manage to get the wall, so FaZe opening up the wall. But look at this.
Ooh.
Eno, ready and waiting. This could be huge. There it goes. Say goodbye to your exothermic charge. And FaZe Clan obviously frustrated knowing that that happened. And that is going to be massive for Garage Control on Nip's side of things.
That right there could be the game-winning play for Ninja Pyjamas. All said and done. Not being able to open up Garage, it's going to hurt FaZe's attack so very much.
It's a nice cheeky Evil Eye cam to just ruin your day.
Exactly. Well played, Tapino.
It's also going to allow Psycho, who's not playing the Bandit this time, he's just going to play the Mute. I think they realized that if this was a pivotal strategy, if Nip realized that this was a pivotal strategy to be able to take out that exothermic charge, you could put a Mute on who necessarily wouldn't be dealing with denying any hard destruction. You can use him for intel denial, or drone denial, or entry denial, whatever you want those Mute jammers to be. This basically forces FaZe to have to reposition themselves. And they're just going to have to fight it out upstairs. And oh no, Astro missing one, but he finally tags out on Pino before Kamikaze, still above, can take out Yuna, and Kamikaze a second. This is a good position for Nip to find themselves in. Cameraman cannot find the Jaeger from above. And well, would you look at that? Kamikaze still up there as Wag gets one of his own, and Psycho taking out Mav. Cameraman giving his position away, just soldiering on. Managed to take out the smoke, but cannot get the other as from the grave. Technically, it's Wog. Even though Wog is still alive, he's down. It's the smoke is going to give it to Nip, doing something that they struggled to do last season, which was pick up wins, and major kudos to them.
So in the first 3 rounds of this match, we saw a very stale Ninja Pyjamas that were struggling to make anything happen, really. And then they managed to pick it up from there. After the first 3, only dropping 2 rounds throughout the rest. A very impressive feat, and those were both on CCTV. Why? Lack of garage control. And what was their remedy? A beautiful Evil Eye placed on the other side of the map to establish an easy denial of the thermite charge. And from there, I mean, it just looked like FaZe didn't have much else to their strategy. If they couldn't take garage, they started to fall apart.
It's wild to think that these kind of these cheeky little impish strategies that sometimes teams will pull out, that you never ever see, that sometimes are derisively referred to as ranked strategies rather, actually work from time to time. And to take a gamble like that, you know, somebody spawn peeking with a rook or a dock in a very pivotal round and you end up getting the kill, or, you know, an early spawn C4. These kind of things, sometimes they pay off when they really shouldn't, and that was a great example of it with the Evil Eye from Nip to be able to take out the exothermic charge.
Yeah, and the thing is, people know about that Evil Eye. It's not exactly some crazy new innovation that they've brought out. You know, at the same time, the reason you don't normally see it is because anybody who commits to that run as a Maestro, he's a 3 armor, 1 speed. It's gonna take a long time to get back to site, and most people won't survive the journey. But because FaZe had limited control there on anything other than what their focus was, garage, Pino managed to make it back and then wreak some havoc.
And then everything else just really came together. Obviously, they wanted FaZe to funnel into the garage, and they were prepared. Kamikaze being able to grab the kills that he needed to, and there you go. But we've still got 3 more matches for you. And up next, Black Dragons versus Red Devils, the team that finished 3rd last season, going up against Pro League, or at least Latin America Pro League's newest set of players. We'll throw to a quick break. We'll be back with our second match of the day.